All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the recap. Michael D'Angelo, joined as always by my partner in crime, Mr. Big D, Daryl Ortiz. I'm back. Thanks for holding down the fort last week, Big D, when I was out with illness. Still a little
Yeah.
bit here, a little bit.
Yeah. It happens. It's all good. Nah, that's how we work here. It's teamwork makes the dream work, as the youngins like to say, right? And that's what we just do. We keep
It
trucking
certainly
along,
does.
making sure we give y'all the content you come on here to either complain about or praise. So I'm excited for it. Either
One
way,
or the other.
either
Sometimes,
way, either
sometimes
way, it's
both.
engagement. Yeah.
Either way,
It's all
engagement
good.
is engagement. Speaking
But
of
this is something we
engagement,
love. So this is
yeah,
awesome.
we love it. And then we're going to go through the week that was really the culmination of the week that was Saturday night main event. Everything kind of built to that. You got the retro shirt on today in honor of Saturday night main event. Loving it. Very appropriate. I wore the same tank top I always wear. So I got to get with the times. Although I am repping the Cougars, going to the Alamo Bowl against Coach Prime. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, we're gonna get destroyed. But anyways, not here to talk about football. But yeah, I'm trying to think of important news and notes from Raw and SmackDown. Was the setup for Saturday Night Main Event was
Yeah.
the finals for the women's
U.S.
United
title.
States Championship. Which surprising finals was Chelsea Green and Meechin, not who I would have picked. I was thinking it was going to be in the semis because we had Bailey and we had Tiffany Stratton. They both lost pretty clean, and that set up the final for Saturday Night Main Event being Meechin versus Chelsea Green.
I was actually kind of a fan to see that happen. I've said it before on shows prior where I'm a fan of Chelsea Green. I think I like the work she does in the ring, and I think they're over giving her like the goofy always get beat up persona, and I think now they're kind of letting her be a little more serious. She's still silly and goofy, which is good. It works, it works. But I think it was well deserved, and Meechin actually also able to be a part of a title picture, which I was a fan of Meechin when she was back in NXT, and I think that's nice that she's finally getting some kind of spotlight here. So it was good to see two different women competing for the title rather than the usuals that we see running around with titles. So
you're right, because it was refreshing to see. It wasn't what I expected, and I thought, this is a nice showcase on Saturday Night Main Event, which is a huge deal because you're getting all this national exposure. So to have it not be the regulars that you would have expected, and to have the first woman crown for the United States Championship, that was going to be. It's a historic moment, and you kind of get to go outside the box a little bit. And it's not Bailey, and it's not Tiffany Stratton. You kind of would have expected because she's an up and coming star. So
it's not Charlotte Flair.
Cool. Yeah, it's not Bianca Belair. Yeah, I'm trying to go through like the whole list of people that they usually would be the ones to carry the torch. So that was nice to see. You had more Drew McIntyre running amok on Raw and SmackDown, taking out members of the original Bloodline to set up what was the opening match for this one. Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn, and then the rest of them were all title matches. So that was really kind of the main important things, I guess, heading into Saturday Night Main Event. And any other notes from Raw and SmackDown before we jump in?
No, you hit the nails on the head. I mean, that's really all it was. And you know what? And that's the thing. Like, it really should be. When you that's what we talk about, like a go home show for like a PLE or like a special event or special function like that. That's what we're talking about. We want to see that final build, that final setup, finalized plans or whatever for the actual card, because it just makes you more excited to watch it. And it showed because the arena was packed.
Yeah,
a Saturday night's main event, and the energy was through the roof. Yeah. The energy was through the roof. Jesse the Body Ventura was mispronouncing names because he's been out for so long, but
Jesse
he got
Ventura. He was trying to figure out what to call everyone. Well, I'm like, I loved him. I thought he was great.
I thought he was great.
He kept mispronouncing things, and it was so cool.
But
after 40 years of being gone, it's like back after 40 years, which I was like, hey, cool. And he kept saying, "I'll see you in San Antonio." And I was like, what are they doing in San Antonio? So I'm glad he's got
another Saturday night main event.
I guess so. They got
January 25th or 6th. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I was like, it was cool to see him. It really set the atmosphere, and that was like more of the vintage stuff. Like I love they had the retro logos out. I think they always do the retro WWE logo.
The entrance,
which I really liked too, because it was that little bit of a tighter space where you can kind of reach out and everybody's like touching everybody as they come through. You had Joe Tessitore wearing the red bow tie in honor of Mean Gene Okerlund. You had the referees in retro gear with the blue shirts and the black tie,
the long sleeve blue shirts.
I mean, everything. And just from the vintage feel There's the one final vintage moment with the big surprise from Cody Rhodes where he had the winged eagle belt.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't really a surprise because they posted
Yeah,
that on
they
social media
posted it, but it
beforehand.
was like they kind of tried to, he tried to cover it up when he came in and did the whoa with it out. But it was like,
Yeah.
yeah, stay off social media, kids. That way you can be surprised when it happens.
Well, I feel if they wouldn't have said anything, it would have gotten a much bigger pop.
Yeah.
Like I feel it would have. It would have got a huge pop.
And that's my favorite design all time for
a
world title. Favorite, like I absolutely love it. And I think seeing that, it's like it does give you nostalgia and it brings back old memories and good memories, and it makes you remember like the new design for the. It's just the logo for WWE.
Yeah, it is.
Like that's all it is, and you can't hold a candle to these old style belts. No. They're so beautiful and they're so well done. There's actual artwork. Somebody had to conceptualize it and draw it up. They didn't just copy paste the WWE logo and throw it on the front of a belt. WWE more of that. I know they kept emphasizing this is one night only. We're not going to do it again. One night only. This is a special thing. I'm like, maybe go back.
Is it me or did the title look a little smaller?
Yeah, I mean, it looked a little smaller.
Cody ain't that big. I mean, he's a big guy, but he ain't that big. Like maybe it looked like you put it like on Big Show or Braun or something. Like
they might have downsized it a little bit so that it just fit him better. It was like a custom title just for him. So I'm wondering if they made it, they didn't want it to look ridiculous on him. It was cool though. That was nice to see. And I will say this: the matches, in many ways, and we'll dive into this. Sadly, Pat McAfee was there too. He was the one downside. I'm just kidding. Pat's fine. Pat's great. But the matches themselves, I really enjoyed, and I really enjoyed for a few reasons. This felt more like kind of old Raw and SmackDown when you had shorter matches that were a little bit tighter, with clean finishes, all except for the one at the end that was a little interesting. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, I have some notes on that.
But everything about it was, I was like, everybody's winning clean. This is really cool. No shenanigans, no controversy. People just winning straight up was nice. Like it had this vintage feel to it that I just dug the heck out of. I thought it was like
I enjoyed it. I like the pacing of it. I feel like it flew by. Yeah, we're used to like long drawn out PLEs. And I guess as this technically isn't a PLE, if they're going to do it again in January.
Yeah.
January 25th is when they're going to do it again. And that's going to be in San Antonio. But even it being a one-off kind of deal, like I like it because I like the pacing a lot. There wasn't any promos. There weren't any backstage segments.
None.
Anything like that.
They had a couple of pre-recorded, like here's how we got here thing.
Like pre-fight. Yeah. And that's cool. But I mean, I like promos too, but at the same time, I feel like you and I have talked numerous times on different episodes of SmackDown and Raw where it's too much or it's just too many promos and you have like 8 promos and like 2 wrestling matches, but I think somewhere trying to find the balance. I think this was a nice palate cleanser from what we've been getting and what we've been used to in the sense that this was essentially like a Raw or SmackDown with a PLE feel because there was five great matches on the card, 4 of them being title matches. Kind of like you said, reminding us of days of old where like, you tune into Raw or you tune into Raw and you're like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Mick Foley won a title on Raw. Like you hardly see title changes on Raw anymore or SmackDown. So this was nice to see some good at stake matches and some great matches.
No surprise roll-ups, no bad guys interfering to help somebody win. It was very much people would just win straight up a lot. Years and years ago. So just having people win straight up from being smart and being good tacticians, like it's refreshing. And then the old pay-per-views, they used to do that same strategy where they wouldn't do a lot of backstage stuff. Remember, they would just roll video package. It's like, here's how we got here. You see the whole video package that they got here, and then they would just go straight into the match. It was like a pay-per-view from the 90s. And that's what I really enjoyed about the formatting of it. And it was like quick. Matches weren't drawn out too long. So much fun. So speaking of which, Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn was the first one. I will say this: none of them. There was no surprises here for me. Like every person that I thought would win, won easily. Drew McIntyre defeated Sami Zayn, obviously because he's coming back and he's doing he's doing his revenge tour against like the OG Bloodline members, and it was a good match. And it kind of it was all the signature stuff. Great pace, all the stuff. It was a great start off to the show because you knew Sammy and Drew were going to bring it. And of course they did. And even in the end, there wasn't any shenanigans with the end of the match. It was, Drew rolled out of the ring to keep from getting finished. And Sammy chased him and then he chased him back into the ring into a Claymore and beat him. Like I was like, he just outsmarted him. And there was no real shenanigans. There wasn't anything bad. It was just Sammy got a little overzealous and Drew outsmarted him, hit him with a Claymore, and got the win. I was like,
well, yeah, he
like
used his aggression against him because out the gate, Sami Zayn was the aggressor. Like he came at it like full speed, 100%, trying to like, take Drew's head off because he was mad, and Drew just took advantage of it, which is always been Drew's MO, right? Drew's always claimed to be the smarter wrestler and the more strategic, and so I think that it suited very well the way his wrestling style. So I enjoyed it. It wasn't anything like, there wasn't a lot of flair to it. It was just regular, just hey, this is a feud match, and they just went at it, and Drew just got the better of him, which I think is the right way.
I agree, and I think they got all their greatest hits in. Like you could tell they structured these matches for the casual fan that never tunes in.
Yeah,
it was like, just get him in there. Everyone run through their greatest hits. We're not going to have any weird finish where it's like, oh, based off of the rules, this happened. It was like, just have him win.
Yeah,
he got the pinfall. They really set it up for like the casual fan that never tunes in, and I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. And I think that's what Pat McAfee said too. He's like, welcome to a lot of y'all that are probably watching this for the first time, either in a long time or ever. Yeah. And I love seeing it, right? It's funny, side tangent here, but tangent. My wife and I were just talking about this, how like, I feel a lot of people nowadays may not be like very proud to be wrestling fans and watch wrestling. I am. I love it. I wear unapologetically. I don't care, and I have people ask me questions quite a bit, and I have healthy conversation about it. I don't get my feelings hurt or anything. I got some pretty thick skin, but I think that this was a great way to introduce someone to WWE because you had the old school look and feel, but then you also had these guys doing phenomenal work. I mean, like you said, Sammy trying to hit the Blue Thunderbomb, making it more like, hey, Drew's way bigger than him. Like he can't, on the first try, he is not going to lift up Drew McIntyre. Like, it took a few attempts, and he finally did. Like, stuff like that, I appreciate because I'm like, see, there we go. That's what this is what's been missing for a while, and I enjoy it very much. Don't get me wrong, the program before still great, entertaining, but it's for us that have been watching it for a long time and understand the business and understand how it works because they've kind of welcomed the fact that we've seen behind the curtain and we know what's going on, so I like that this was more back to like original. Like you didn't have the camera following you backstage all the way through. You didn't have like stuff like that going on, so you didn't have certain things said. It was still kind of more traditional, so I enjoyed it.
No, it was good stuff. And then right after this one we got
Io Sky.
Liv Morgan versus Io Sky for the Women's World Championship. This one was really good.
This was fast paced.
You knew it wasn't, and they would do the same setup with each matches. They would start it, immediately go to commercial, kind of like they do on Raw and SmackDown. It's like, who's going to win? They do a very long commercial.
Yeah.
And then after that, though, it's like they come back and they're in it until the match is over. So I appreciated that we didn't get 2 commercial breaks or anything funky like that.
Yeah.
Like I get what they're trying to do. They still had to make time they got to pay the bills.
And they pay sponsors. That. Yeah. And it's on network TV because it was on NBC. So NBC has even more.
And no picture in picture because it was like, except for the main event. Yeah. Main event had picture in picture. Everybody else didn't have picture in picture. So they followed that format, but it was good where at least you're not getting broken up by multiple commercial breaks. It was just that one long one. And then you'd see the majority of what you needed to see. This one was really great. You had the cool moment with Io hitting the 3 German suplexes in a row.
That was awesome to see.
She kept pulling her through them and it was really, really great. One little scary moment where Io slipped on and she was trying to
slipped on the top rope.
And she slipped on the top rope and then kind of fell back in because I think Liv Morgan was going to try to counter her with a code breaker. And so she kind of slipped and stumbled in. They still did the code breaker spot, but that was like the one kind of scary moment that worked out. You did end up having Liv Morgan countered the over the moonsault, so that was the finish. Io goes for the over the moonsault. Liv got her feet up, and then ended up hitting the Oblivion. She kind of bounced her off the ropes. Another clean win. I liked it because again, no controversy. You didn't have Judgment Day members running down or anything like that.
No, and you didn't have damage control in there either. And Io Sky showed off her skill. Like Io Sky is phenomenal on the ropes. And it was a shame that she slipped on that one spot, which is an odd or a very one-off thing for Io Sky. Like she's very well balanced. So that tells me that maybe someone's sweat or something got on that.
Like what's going on with the ropes lately? I feel like
I noticed there's a clip
happening.
Yeah, I think there's a clip one time where I saw where like the ref kind of like rubbed like his arm like on the rope to like dry it off on a different PLE. And I think it's just I don't know. I don't know if maybe they're spraying their hair too much with water or something.
Like they're doing something.
Because it's weird.
I feel like we see it much more frequently.
Yeah, it's happening quite often and in different parts of the ring. But again, I like that Io Sky was able to showcase her skill and her talent because I think that's somebody that a casual viewer may not be familiar with, right? Because it's Io Sky. She's come from, other promotions in the past, but not anything I'm sure a casual fan would have seen. And it was cool to see that. Morgan looks strong. I like that they didn't make her rely on Raquel to come out and help her or save her or distract or anything like that. I really do, because she is a champion. Like, she should be strong. And of course, you had at the end, as Liv was walking up the rope, the entryway, you had Rhea's music hit and Rhea came out, but they didn't fight.
They didn't fight. Yeah, I was like,
they just looked at each other.
They looked at each other, and Liv held up the title, and that was it. And that felt like very old school too. There was no brawl, because you half expected there to be a big fight on the out in the entryway. Didn't happen. It was just kind of, they looked at each other, stood there. Liv held up the title. She did get her nose busted a little bit in this one. Hopefully she's fine. Didn't look like it was that serious.
That knee was vicious.
Yeah, the knee was bad. I was like looking. They were like, how long is Liv going to be out? I was like, she got some blood, but it's not crooked. Like, she didn't it didn't look like
it's not bruised up or swollen. So
hopefully, best wishes. Hopefully it's nothing serious. They got a lot of folks that got injured coming off of Survivor Series, so you definitely don't need continuing injuries to big stars. But that one was good and solid, followed by another solid match, which was the triple threat for the men's world championship.
This was actually my match of the night.
Yeah, Gunther versus Damian Priest versus Finn Balor for the men's world championship. Your match of the night, Big D. Take us through your high points here.
I mean, just honestly, what made it match of the night for me was that you had Gunther, who, of course, is just your old school traditional style wrestler. And it's fitting that you have Bruno Sammartino in the crowd, which I thought was awesome. And I love the exchanges of chops, how like each guy is trying to hit the hardest chop. And poor Finn, he got the worst of it. I don't know if you saw the big old welt that started developing like right on his collarbone. What made it cool is that all these guys, normally in the triple threat, you have a lot of rest spots, a lot of rest holds. But because of the timing of it, it was like nonstop. So it reminded me more of what a triple threat used to be in the 90s, where, one guy would roll out because he'd get knocked out of the ring. And that was his rest spot. He had like, a minute to just kind of catch his breath, get his wits about him, because the other two are just going at it in the ring. And then before you know it, the next one will come in, knock somebody else. Like that rotation that, unless you're paying attention, you wouldn't notice. You wouldn't feel it. You wouldn't notice it. And it's just going. Damian Priest hits the old school off the top rope. The crowd lost it when he did. I knew it. I was like, he got his hand and he stood up.
Did like a cross. It was like a crossbody finish though, because Undertaker used to do like that axe handle chop.
Yeah, he did the chop.
He did like a kind of a crossbody to close that. It was still great. Like as soon as he started doing it, I was like, oh, he's going for old school. It was.
Yeah, the crowd went ballistic for it. Gunther with the close save, almost losing when Finn hit the coup de grace. That was also really good. And then you had Finn almost stealing it, which would have surprised the hell out of me.
Yeah.
Because you had Damian Priest hit the Razor's Edge, and then Finn Balor gets him out and then hits the coup de grace on Gunther. Or no, hits the coup de grace on Gunther because Damian Priest is so gassed. He's like not even going for the pin yet, but Finn right away on the ropes hits the coup de grace, gets the pin, almost gets the 3 count, so almost steals it. And then you had Gunther just. I love this part too. I love this way how Gunther likes to end matches. Is that I don't know if anyone's ever picked up on it. He gets frustrated. Like he makes it look like he's like already pissed off, and he's like, you know what, I'm done. And he just aggressive power bomb, and then he like threw Finn out of the way. He threw this person out of the way, and he got Damian Priest, and then he got Damian Priest, power bombed him on the rope, on the steps.
On the steps, yeah.
Yeah, he power bombed on the steps out of frustration, got rid of him, went inside, got Finn Balor, hit the power bomb on him aggressively for the win. I love the way he does it because it makes it, the power bomb such a basic move in the sense that nowadays everyone hits a power bomb.
Yeah.
But the way Gunther does it, it's with much more emphasis. It's almost kind of like how Undertaker would hit the Last Ride.
Mm-hmm.
You knew it was just a suspended power bomb, or like the jackknife from Diesel or Kevin Nash. It's simple, but because of their stature, they're able to just get you up, and then just a force that he pulls you down on gets the pin. It looks like he was just like, all right, I'm done playing with you guys. I'm done. I'm going back. I got my title. Bye. And he just left. And you had no interference from Judgment Day.
Yeah.
You had no interference from Ludwig Kaiser. And so it was just because, you know what? It was so fast paced that you had no time to squeeze in an interference, and that's what made it match of the night for me, is that this match being a triple threat, I was worried because I knew they were going to be under time constraints. It flowed so well, and each guy got their licks in. Everyone got their finishers in. You had 2 South of Heaven choke slams, which nobody kicked out of, which was great because and nobody kicked out of the coup de grace, nobody kicked out of the power bomb, nobody kicked out of finishers. They were actually broken up. Like we always say, they got broken up by the other competitor in the ring, because you forget momentarily that you got somebody else in the ring. So that was my match of the night. I loved
it. It was really great, and the things that I appreciated about it were a couple of things. It's like, yeah, everything you said spot on, and a couple of things that I really appreciated was a kind of in the storytelling for somebody who doesn't watch wrestling. They did stick to all of here's like the tropes that you should expect is we're going to be very clear about who the heels are, very clear about who the faces are. The faces aren't going to do heel stuff. The heels aren't going to do face stuff. They didn't kick out of finishers. Finishers are protected. Like, it was a lot of fundamentals that they stuck with. And I'm like, yeah, this is great. Like, all the things that we complain about, hey, you guys aren't being consistent, they really stuck to the rules here. And then Gunther got to have a dominant win, a dominant finish, especially since they've been kind of showing, has Gunther losing his confidence? And he's had to kind of win with interference and win with people coming in and intervening. So somebody coming in, seeing him for the first time is like, this guy's a dominant force. There's no issues with him.
Yeah. He is the champ.
Yeah, he is the champ, and here's why. Like, they threw out kind of all this stuff they've been showing, where he's a little weak here, there was some uncertainty there, and just really showcased him as he's a dominant champion. Look what he just did. He took both these guys out with power bombs. It's over. So I absolutely loved it, and squeaky clean. He didn't have to get helped or saved out of this one. So this one was great, and that was followed by Chelsea Green versus Michin to crown our first ever U.S. championship, women's U.S. championship. This one was a good match. They have a lot of chemistry. I mean, I like that they kept doing the callbacks of like Chelsea Green's first televised match ever was against Michin. They went back through like everyone's resumes, even back to TNA and everything. So it was nice. They were trying to kind of set the table for the journeys that everyone's gone on. I kind of knew it was going to be Chelsea Green. At least I did. I'm like, she's got way too much momentum. Michin really hasn't. Michin's kind of been jobbed out to a lot of people, unfortunately. To Nia Jax, unfortunately. So you kind of knew the Jersey crowd. Now, I will say this. It was clearly Chelsea Green is obviously the heel here. Michin's obviously the face here. Jersey crowd was loving Chelsea Green and chanting for her the whole time. You would have thought it was the other way around. Chelsea Green really laid into it with her ring gear with pictures of herself.
Yeah.
I was like, this is great. Crowd just loved it and was doing the Chelsea chants the whole time, which was cool to see, because I was like, oh, she's gonna win it. You kind of knew, like, this would just be a good moment for her. There was a little bit of kind of Piper Niven was at ringside,
but it was old school heel tactic.
Yeah,
like, it was just getting up on the apron and just like jawing.
Yeah, she didn't physically interfere with it. She didn't really do anything that was meaningful enough, and it was more kind of Michin like attacked her and knocked her off the ring apron. That caused, it's like, well, you attacked her, but she didn't attack you. You kind of hesitated for a second and opened up a door for Chelsea Green, who had that awesome transition off of the top rope to be able to hit the Unprettier and won. So it was a great. The crowd went bananas as soon as she hit the Unprettier. Everyone kind of knew she's not kicking out of this, because they hadn't done it all night. So the crowd went nuts. Counted the 3 count with her. Great moment. Very deserving for Chelsea Green to be the first ever women's U.S. champion. She got the fireworks. She got, carried around on Piper's shoulder. Really well deserved. This one was a lot of fun, and I appreciate the fact that, what a platform to elevate somebody who's kind of been in the mid card and hasn't been carrying titles on the main roster, to have this be her first real opportunity to do that. I mean, the women's tag titles, yes, but this is her first singles title. So I thought this was very cool.
I agree, and I think also what helped is they were at the Nassau Coliseum. I mean, let's not forget her significant other, Matt Cardona, Mr. Zack Ryder himself. Hence her hitting the Rough Rider when the crowd lost it when she hit the Rough Rider. So I think that was also what helped her feel like it was a home field advantage for her. And like I said earlier on, I've always said she should be the one to win this, because she is the most deserving. She's put in the work, and I mean, as she's shown, and I've always said this, if you didn't believe me, go back to Lucha Underground. She can wrestle. Like, she's good. Yeah. And I think they never showcased it because she never had to. And now that she's doing it, everyone's kind of like, oh, wow. Like, I'm telling you, when she like when Michin hit the eat the feet and Chelsea got she right away, like, you see the foot, I'm like, up rope. But then when she used the turnbuckle to set up the Unprettier, that was pretty cool. That was very like it was very creative. And I enjoyed that, and I felt this was a very good call. So yeah, I really enjoyed this match as well.
Yeah, and that took us into main event, which was Kevin Owens versus Cody Rhodes. This was interesting the way that they handled it. There were cool. Obviously, Cody retained. Everybody knows that at this point, and everyone expected that. So everybody retained on Saturday Night Main Event. Everybody who should have won won. Everybody who was expected to win won.
Yeah.
It started out fine. I think there was a couple of Randy Orton moves that reared in during the exchange. So you had Kevin Owens doing that kind of backdrop onto the announce table that Orton does, and then looking into the camera and going, "Hey, Randy." And
that was nice.
That was a fun moment. That was cool. It was a nice touch. And then you had Cody hitting the RKO on top of the table.
Yep.
On Kevin Owens, and table didn't break. Those announce tables are a lot sturdier than they used to be.
That must have hurt like hell. I'm telling you that right now, because they made them into collapsible tables. With that looked like it hurt like
hell. It hurt Cody more than it hurt Kevin Owens. He had to do the back bump on it.
Yeah,
but it still looked cool. I enjoyed Pat's reference, Pat McAfee, all the silly things that he says, and he makes the reference to Cody needing to fight all the drones since they were in New Jersey, and there's apparently drones just flying all over New Jersey, and he goes, Cody's gonna fight all the drones while we're here. So keeping it real, Pat McAfee. So I think the bigger part here is the kind of an odd finish that I'm not really sure what it means. So you had the first one was Kevin Owens knocking Cody into Charles Robinson, and knocking him out. And then right after that, hitting the stunner and then getting the pinfall. And he would have won, but Charles Robinson was knocked unconscious. And it took a while for the replacement referee to come running down. And by then it was too late. Cody had recovered.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had Cody getting thrown into the second referee and knocking the second referee out. And you had the moment at the end where Kevin Owens goes and gets the chair, brings it on, and then Cody ends up getting Kevin Owens in the crossroads. And the chair's there, and he intentionally crossroads him on top of the chair, then throws the chair out of the ring to get rid of the evidence. And the referee's awake at this point. I think it was Charles Robinson was probably back in the game at this point. And then he counted the 1, 2, 3 and got the win. So the kind of the culmination of this, and I can't really, because Kevin Owens is going to be rightfully upset about all this, is he should have won if the referee hadn't been knocked out. And then technically Cody Rhodes did cheat to win this match. I mean, he used a chair.
Yeah.
And I can't tell if this is because Michael Cole was sort of doing the whole, well, I like Jesse Ventura was like, hey, he looks like a cheater to me. And Jesse was doing the heel thing the whole time. And so he was like, Kevin Owens should be upset about this. And then he's like, well, in fairness, Kevin Owens introduced the chair. And I'm thinking, Mike, like, what are you talking about? You're saying it's okay because he introduced the chair, so it's all fair game, which Michael Cole's a terrible habit of doing that with faces, where he'll totally justify like ambushes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that was the one kind of cheap win, technically, was that Cody cheated and used the chair instead of doing the Valiant thing and kicking the chair out of the ring and then doing the crossroads. He did it and then hid the fact that he cheated so that he could retain. Because what would have happened? He just would have got disqualified and the title wouldn't have changed hands anyway.
Right.
So it wasn't like he really needed to do that.
Right.
So I'm like, are we hinting at a heel turn here at all?
I think we are.
Yeah.
I think we are.
What are your thoughts here?
So one other thing I wanted to call out was actually a few other things. KO mimicking Goldust. That was a nice touch.
That was cool.
And then I love KO's shirts leading up to the match, but this one yesterday was awesome. It was a Dusty Rhodes shirt, but it had like the tape and it was KO's face instead of Dusty's face, and then it said Canadian Dream. I thought that was honestly like his trolling is top notch. Yeah. And then when he was going to do the bionic elbow, mimicking Dusty Rhodes on the bionic elbow, little things like that. I really enjoy the in-ring psychology that KO does. He's phenomenal. I feel he's one of the greatest. I feel he's underrated quite a bit. I think he's really, really good. And he showcased a lot in this particular match. But one thing that bothered me, so here's the thing. I understand that if a heel brings in a chair and it ends up backfiring and getting used against them, okay, I can live with that. Personally, I'm fine with that. However, what I thought was the dumbest thing ever is if you look at the replay, Cody Rhodes hits the crossroads on the chair and then slides the chair out, and the camera's kind of like the ring apron is like right here like this, and Charles Robinson's feet are like right here. The chair just flies over Charles Robinson while he's gaining consciousness. So he's just like looking at a chair fly out of the ring. So the ref saw a chair leave the ring and was like, and then got in and said, oh, someone's down. 1, 2, 3. Like, let's put it together here. Let's use common sense. Throw the chair forward. Yeah, throw the chair forward or throw it the other way. You throw it right over the ref, that's going to make the count. That makes no sense to me. And who knows? Maybe, I don't know.
He probably just didn't notice where the ref was.
I agree. I agree. And I just,
yeah.
And then what bothered me the most is, where was the ref when he made the count? On the ring apron. He was leaning in counting. Refs aren't supposed to do that. They're supposed to be in the ring. Yeah. So it's little details like that that kind of get to me. But all that to say, although I'm not a fan of the finish, I wasn't excited for it. It kind of just sucked the wind out of the feud, I feel.
Yeah.
But however, the feud will continue, because apparently after the show went off the air, KO attacked Cody and hit the Steenalizer, his old finish, which is a package pile driver, and left Cody lying there seeking medical attention. So
yeah, I didn't see that part.
I only saw it on TikTok. And you know who put it on TikTok? WWE. Because why? They probably cut out too early because they were out of time. Yeah. And it's on social media, so y'all can go back and watch that clip. But yeah, he hits the Steenalizer, which is that back when he was Kevin Steen, TNA, Ring of Honor, all that stuff. That his finisher was the package pile driver, which he always said he would never take one, but he was glad that other people took it because it was very dangerous. And that's kind of what they played into it, because he pretty much just dropped Cody on his neck. So yeah, that the feud will continue. I guess we'll see. Maybe Cody's going to be out for a while because of that, and then you'll have Randy Orton come back or something. We'll see.
Yeah, because I feel like if they're going to do that, they must be planning on Cody taking some time off. But that's where I'm just kind of wondering, because Kevin Owens now has two legitimate gripes, though, because he should have won. He should have won with the stunner, and the referee was taken out. And then he definitely it should have been a disqualification. He wouldn't have won the title, but Cody Rhodes, who always talks about doing the noble thing and doing the right thing, used a chair and did heel tactics. So I imagine they're going to probably start building towards we're getting the Homelander version of Cody Rhodes.
Yeah,
it's coming. I mean, I think they're going to do the slow build with it, which I would prefer to see at this point, to be honest. I think that would be cool. And then maybe do him versus Roman Reigns again, with Roman Reigns being the face and Cody being the heel.
Flip it.
That would be interesting. I had almost wondered if we were going to see Goldust come back, because he's not under contract with AEW anymore. And there was a moment when he talked about, I think it was on SmackDown, where Kevin Owens made the comment about, you weren't just a bad friend, you're a bad son and a bad brother. And he very specifically threw that out there, and I was like, oh, are we going to see Goldust pop up tomorrow and attack Cody? And then, of course, that didn't happen on Saturday Night Main Event, but wondering if they're going to build to that, and we're going to see him come back and be part of this heel turn feud, or something's going to happen there. But it'll be interesting. We'll see. This is the only one that everything else kind of wrapped cleanly. This is the only one that just had different story beats and threads that kind of closed it out. Good match. Interested to see where they go with this.
Yeah, same here. Same here. Overall, the show was great. I give this one actually an A. I think this is
I give it an A as well.
It was really good.
I'll be generous. A+. A+ for me. Just everything about it. Good nostalgia. It was fun. Good matches. Good pacing to it. Good clean wins, which is what we like to see. And good wrestling. So
good old-fashioned wrestling.
This was great. It shouldn't just be a retro one-time thing, WWE. Take some of these elements and just play. Incorporate them going forward.
Just use a little bit of it, right? Like, just sprinkle it out here. Like, I love the promos too, because I feel like they set up storylines and all that good stuff. I enjoy those, but let's kind of scale back on that just a tiny bit, and let's put in more wrestling in our wrestling matches. Not even more matches, just a little more wrestling in them.
More wrestling, and then more clean wins. I think is cool too.
I agree.
But yeah, that was it. That was Saturday Night Main Event. That's our show for this week, everybody. Short and sweet today. But we appreciate you all as always. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave us comments, good ones, bad ones, in between ones, whatever you feel like saying. We love it. We love to hear from you all, and we appreciate the support as always. And that's what we've got. So until next time, I've been Michael D'Angelo. He's been Big D Daryl Ortiz. Have a wonderful week, everybody. We'll see you soon.